As my husband says, get right to it. Welcome back to Journey with Jackie. I am excited because I am sharing with you my favorite items of the summer with my favorite color. And I got them from ZARA and I got them from Target. I'm going to do it as a lookbook for you as I share with you the items. So first thing I'm going to share with you is a dress that I got from Target. It is a beautiful white summer dress. This is actually a size extra large and it has a really nice pocket here on the side. And what I did was I paired it with a like white, like little biker pants underneath. And then I have it on with my white favorite t-shirt that I wear all the time, and I just threw on some little sandals. This is a size extra large. Yes, I could have went a size down, but I wanted to fit really loose and really flowing. So just basically order your regular size, and I still think it'll be nice and loose and comfortable for you. They came in some beautiful colors, and can I tell you the price? $20. I actually bought more than one color and they actually had a sale for $16. So by the time you buy this, worst case scenario, it's $20. Best case scenario, it's $16. Second thing I want to share with came from ZARA. It's beautiful puff sleeves, and it's like it's longer than a crop, so it hits me right at my hip bone a little bit. So you can wear this on the outside if you like, or tucked in if you want, and it has little slits on the side, which I think are beautiful. But here's the thing, it came with this beautiful pearl collar attached to it with the beautiful pearl little button, but as you can see, it's no longer there. And here's the tag for you. I got a size large. I had my cleaners cut off the collar, change the button to a regular button, and as you can see, I have it on with a pair of overalls. I just want to share with you how I plan to wear this, but the cool thing is you could dress this up, you could dress this down, and I just wanted to show you, you can always dress things up, right? But I thought for white blouse, let me show you how easy it is to dress it down. And I love overalls, and to keep with the whole Target and ZARA theme, everything I'm showing you that I'm wearing came from Target or ZARA. These overalls actually came from Target that you saw on my last haul that I did. So I did recently get these from Target, and don't they look cute with this shirt? I love, 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 love. I cannot wait to wear this shirt. Item number 3. You have seen this shirt before. This came from ZARA's long white tunic. You have seen me do a lookbook haul for you before with this shirt. And remember, I said I love this shirt so much that what I did was I actually went back and bought a second one, and I will show you the tag. So now I have 2, and I did the same thing. This had a regular collar on it, and then I just had my cleaners cut it off. She just stitched the edges back, and that was basically it. So I've decided to pair this with a pair of cut off shorts with my t-shirt, and you can rock it with sandals or you can rock it with sneakers. It doesn't matter, but I just want to show you how I'm going to wear even this shirt going into the summer, how I'm still going to use it. Very similar concept as this. So I just threw on some white shorts, and this is a top that I got last year from ZARA that I did a haul for you guys and show you this last year. So, but once again, so that's really the same concept that I did with this, just to kind of show you what you could do. And obviously you can still wear this possibly as a bathing suit cover or conference call, and you want your top half to still be really cute, but you want to feel really comfortable, lower half and all over. I think this is really nice for Zoom meetings or any teleconferences or any FaceTime or anything that you have to do, and you still want to look crisp white shirt, and feel comfortable. Here's your shirt. So that is item number 3. I have 3 more I want to share with you. So let me share with you. I did share with you the last outfit with the shorts and the shirt. So what I did was, as you can see, I also had changed and put on a blazer. This is like one of my favorite blazers from ZARA. You guys know this blazer too because it has the scrunched up sleeves to it already, and it came in so many colors over the years. I just think this is definitely a good staples for Zara that you can never go wrong with. And so I actually have like 3 different colors, but once again, I'm keeping it with the white theme for this haul, so I will not pull out the other colors. But I just want to share with you, just rocking this simple blazer with your shorts would be so pretty. And once again, you can wear heels, you can wear flats, you can wear sneakers, and I just think it's just a nice elevation to even just wearing sweat shorts, jean shorts, it doesn't matter. I think adding a white blazer is always so nice in the summertime. So I wanted to share that with you. So I'm going to share with you 2 more outfits. I have on a ZARA White jacket. As you can see, it is it's double-breasted with single buttons in the front. I got this last year with these nice oversized pockets, and I would say this is like more of like a boyfriend cut fit jacket. You see how loose and flowing, how baggy it is, paired with the little white t-shirt. And then I am wearing a pair of Target pants that I got, and they're cargo pants. I'll show you the brand from Target, and I'll link the information below. But they have these really nice oversized side pockets, the standard cargos, and then they have these really nice cuffs. I am 5'6", so they fit right above the ankle for me, which is perfect. So, and as you can see, I'm wearing them with the white sneakers, the t-shirt, the jacket, and I think it is so cute. It's just like a no fuss look, nice summery and festive, remind you of the summertime. And then you obviously can throw on sandals if you want. I have on the sneakers, but you can throw on sandals. You can wear a little tiny pump if you wanted to. If you just kind of wanted to make them more into a business casual look, you can definitely do that. And then also I would tell you for sizing, if you're in between sizes, I would go the size down versus the size up, because I did that and I went to the size down because I'm in between, and they still fit really nice and loose, as you see, and I'm still very comfortable because I actually bought the size up. I got home, tried them on, and I'm like, oh, that's too big, and I didn't want to spend the money to have them altered. I'm like, Jackie, that's just ridiculous. So I just took them back, returned them, because here in our Target, we still cannot try on clothes in the clothing store. So I brought them home. At least they're able to return them. Once you try them home, you can take them back. And because then what they told me, because of COVID, then what they do is they take them to a special room, they sanitize them and let them sit there for like 2 weeks before they even put them back on the floor. So I feel really comfortable buying the clothes, taking them home, and trying, knowing how they're doing the COVID and the safety process. So just put them on and go. Even if you're traveling, especially if you're driving in the car for a long distance, you're still looking cute without just wearing sweatpants. So I think you're really gonna love those cargo pants. Okay, so last thing I want to share with you is this beautiful lace dress. I actually saw this on the channel. I think her channel is called High Low Luxe, and she had this beautiful baby doll dress. I got it from Zara, and the sleeves are, I'll put my hand through it. So the sleeves are completely sheer with the lace applique on the top, and it is a baby doll length dress, and it has its own little thin silk S lining underneath attached, but still, I still say you can still see through it, even with this lining on. I'll put my hand through it so you can still see through it. So what I did was I put on like a flesh tone little silk dress underneath, so because I wanted to wear this open because it is a deep V-neck plunge. So that's what you're seeing. This is my own flesh tone silk little dress underneath, and so I felt more comfortable wearing it that way so I could carry it open. But here's what else I did to make it my own. It was a beautiful like lace Chinese collar, like up to here a little bit, and it was like kind of was like more like a I don't know how to say this, more like a scallop, like I don't know, I'm just going to show you the picture. But at the end of the day, I cut it off. I thought I kept like finding myself in the mirror when I was trying it on, like trying to figure out how to make sure that the collar stayed up. And then I kept like fixing the dress. And then I was like, okay, is this starting to agitate my neck? Because I have such sensitive skin, and I really don't like anything touching my neck, like fabric wise, unless it's like a jacket, or obviously in the winter if I'm wearing a turtleneck. But for this type of dress, I didn't want to be fussing with it, trying to make this collar to stay up. And I thought, you know what? Cut it off. So I took it to my cleaners as well and asked her just to cut it off. That's all she did, and she just stitched up the collar back again. And so that's what I did, and I've now made it my own, and I've made it very comfortable. The other thing is, it is a baby doll dress. I am 5'6". I originally ordered a size large, and I got it home and it was a little bit shorter than I would like for myself, that I felt comfortable wearing. I'm fine with wearing like shorts, you know, up to here, that's fine, but I didn't want to dress up to there. That I just didn't feel comfortable. So I returned and got an extra large, simply because I wanted the body of the dress to be a little longer, and that's the size that you actually see that I actually have on the extra large. And the sleeves, thank goodness the sleeves really that wasn't that much longer by going with the extra large. So I'm just going to push up the sleeve. It's during the day, and in the evening just kind of wear the sleeves down. But I just think this is such a beautiful dress. You know, if you want to wear this during the day, if it's like not humid out, if it's like in the 70s and 80s, nice little breeze during the day, it's perfect. If it's really hot though, you might think that it's a little too heavy and too hot, unless it's like in the evening. But so that's why I was like emphasizing the evening versus like in the height of the summer when it's really hot. But it's a beautiful dress. You will not be disappointed with it. And so that's pretty much it. I hope you love the lookbook. Tell me if you loved it. Tell me what is your favorite items that I bought from either Target or from Zara. And yeah, I appreciate your feedback as always. Any comments that you want to leave, any suggested videos that you think would be really great for me to do, definitely let me know. I would love to know your ideas and what you think I could do moving forward as we take this journey together. I'm so appreciative. I love you guys so much. And if you haven't done so, make sure you subscribe before you leave me today. I love you guys. See you soon. All right. Bye.